There's something particularly cruel about ruining ice cream. It's one of life's simple pleasures, a comfort food that transcends age, class, and circumstance. Whether it's a 99 flake on the seafront or a tub in front of the telly on a Friday night, ice cream is supposed to make things better. But walk down the frozen aisle of any British supermarket and you'll find yourself surrounded by brightly coloured tubs making grand promises they have no intention of keeping. Number 8. Wall's Ice Cream. The brand is everywhere, every corner shop, every cinema, every seaside vendor. That red and white logo is as British as the Union Jack itself. Wall's has been making ice cream since 1913, which means they've had over a century to perfect their craft. So why does modern Wall's ice cream taste like sweetened air with a vague memory of vanilla? Here's what happened. Unilever owns Wall's, and over the decades they've done what massive corporations do best. They've engineered the product down to the absolute minimum cost per litre while maximising the markup. The result is something that technically qualifies as ice cream, but bears almost no resemblance to what that term should mean. Pick up a tub of standard Wall's vanilla. The ingredients list reads like a chemistry practical. You've got reconstituted skimmed milk, glucose syrup, sugar, vegetable oils, and then we get into emulsifiers like E471, stabilizers like E410, E412, and E407, and flavoring. Notice what's missing? Cream. Actual cream. None of this is illegal, but that doesn't make it okay. Real ice cream is cream, milk, sugar, and flavoring. That's it. 4 ingredients, maybe 5 if you want to get fancy. But Wall's has discovered that you can replace expensive dairy fat with cheap vegetable oils, pump in air to increase the volume, and add stabilizers to make it all hold together. The result takes up the same space in the tub, but costs them a fraction to produce. One user on a food forum put it perfectly. I remember Wall's from childhood and it tasted creamy, rich, now it's just cold sugar foam. The air content, or overrun as it's called in the industry, is the real scandal. Premium ice cream has about 25 to 30% air whipped into it. Wall's standard range can have up to 100% overrun. That means half of what you're buying is literally air. You're paying £3 for half a tub of actual product. And here's the thing that should genuinely annoy you. Wall's still positions itself as a premium brand. They charge more than supermarket-owned brands while delivering a product that's often lower quality. We feel they're trading entirely on legacy, on the memory of what they used to be, while giving you vegetable oil foam with stabilizers. Number 7. Cadbury Ice Cream. We've already talked about what Mondelez did to Cadbury chocolate on this channel, but their ice cream deserves its own special mention because it represents a double betrayal. First, they ruined the chocolate. Then they used that degraded chocolate to make ice cream and slapped a premium price on it. Cadbury Ice Cream isn't made by chocolatiers who happen to make ice cream. It's made by whoever Mondelez has licensed the name to, and it shows. The chocolate flavour comes from cocoa powder and flavourings rather than actual Cadbury chocolate. The texture is icy rather than creamy, and the ingredient list includes the usual suspects: vegetable fats, glucose syrup, stabilizers, and emulsifiers. One reviewer summed it up brutally. It tastes like someone vaguely remembered Cadbury chocolate and filled in the rest with sugar. So disappointed. But here's what makes this particularly cynical. People buy Cadbury ice cream because they love Cadbury chocolate. They're expecting that specific flavour, that nostalgia, that creamy melt. What they're getting is a licensed product that uses the absolute minimum of actual Cadbury ingredients to legally put the name on the tub. The flake ice cream bars are perhaps the saddest example. A real flake is delicate, crumbly, with a specific texture that comes from the way the chocolate is made. The flake in the ice cream bar is just chocolate-flavoured coating that happens to be ridged. It doesn't taste like a flake. It doesn't have that texture. It's just there. You're paying extra for the Cadbury name on something that has almost nothing to do with actual Cadbury quality. It's nostalgia exploitation at its finest. Number 6. Viennetta. Oh, Viennetta, the dessert that made every 1980s dinner party feel sophisticated. Those elegant layers of ice cream and chocolate, the way it's sliced so perfectly, the sheer theatre of bringing it to the table. For a generation of British families, Viennetta was special occasion food. which makes what's happened to it all the more tragic. Modern Viennetta is a shadow of its former self. The layers are thinner, the chocolate is barely chocolate, and the ice cream base is the same cheap Walls formula we've already discussed: reconstituted skimmed milk, vegetable oils, and stabilizers. But the real crime is the chocolate layers. They're not chocolate. They're chocolate-flavored vegetable oil. Check the ingredients and you'll see cocoa powder, sugar, and vegetable fats. This is compound chocolate, the cheap substitute that doesn't have to meet the legal requirements for actual chocolate because it doesn't contain cocoa butter. A food blogger wrote, "I bought one for nostalgia. Big mistake. It was like eating cardboard layered with brown wax. The magic is completely gone." The texture has changed too. It used to slice cleanly, giving you those distinct layers. Now it kind of crumbles and squashes because the cheap ingredients don't have the structural integrity of real cream and real chocolate. And yet Viennetta still trades on that 1980s image of sophistication. The packaging still shows those perfect layers. It's still positioned as a special dessert. But what you're actually getting is low-grade ice cream with chocolate-flavored vegetable oil, all held together with emulsifiers and stabilizers. For the same price, you could buy actual good ice cream and drizzle it with real chocolate. But Viennetta is banking on you not thinking that far. They're banking on the memory of what it used to be. Number 5, Kelly's of Cornwall. This one stings because Kelly's positions itself as the premium British alternative. The packaging shows the Cornish coast. The branding emphasises tradition and local heritage. They charge significantly more than the big brands. You're meant to feel good about buying Kelly's. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Kelly's is now owned by a massive multinational, and while they talk about Cornish tradition, the reality is far less romantic. Look at the ingredients on a standard Kelly's tub. You'll find vegetable oils listed prominently, stabilizers, emulsifiers, the exact same cost-cutting ingredients as the brands they're supposedly better than. Yes, they sometimes use Cornish milk, which sounds lovely until you realise they're often using reconstituted skimmed milk and replacing the fat with cheaper vegetable oils anyway. One disappointed customer wrote, "Paid nearly £5 for Kelly's clotted cream flavour. Guess what? It lists vegetable oils before actual cream. How is that clotted cream ice cream?" That's the truly cynical part. They're selling Cornish clotted cream ice cream that's actually made with vegetable fats. Clotted cream is one of Cornwall's most famous products, rich and luxurious and expensive. But Kelly's has discovered they can put it in the name while using minimal actual clotted cream and filling the rest with cheap alternatives. The texture gives it away. Real clotted cream ice cream should be dense and rich. Kelly's is fluffy and light because it's been pumped full of air and held together with stabilizers rather than actual dairy fat. They charge premium prices, they use premium branding, but they're delivering a product that's barely better than Walls while costing twice as much. That's not heritage, that's exploitation. Number 4. Haagen-Dazs. Now this one might surprise you. Haagen-Dazs, but it's expensive, it's premium, the name is... well, it's meant to sound Scandinavian and sophisticated, right? Here's a secret. Haagen-Dazs isn't Scandinavian. It was created in New York in 1961 with a made-up name specifically designed to sound European and premium. It's owned by General Mills, an American corporation, and everything about it is marketing. But let's be fair. For years, Haagen-Dazs did deliver quality. The ingredients were simple: cream, milk, sugar, eggs, and flavouring. That was it. It was dense, rich, and genuinely premium. The price was justified, not anymore. In recent years, Haagen-Dazs has started reformulating. Check newer flavours and you'll find stabilizers like E410 and E412 creeping in. The overrun has increased, meaning more air and less actual product. The tubs have shrunk from 500 millilitres to 460 millilitres, while the price has stayed the same or increased. But here's the real issue. Often at £5 to £6 for a small tub, Haagen-Dazs is trading on a reputation for quality that it's actively undermining. They're still marketing themselves as the premium choice while quietly cutting costs. One ice cream enthusiast put it bluntly, "Haagen-Dazs used to be worth the premium. Now you're paying for the name and nothing else. The texture isn't as dense, the flavour isn't as intense. It's banking on people not noticing." And most people don't notice because they buy it once a month as a treat, and their memory of how it used to taste gets blurred with clever marketing and attractive packaging. For £6, you could buy twice as much actually premium ice cream from a small producer. But Haagen-Dazs occupies that middle-class freezer space where people want to feel like they're buying quality without doing the research to find actual quality. Number 3, Ben & Jerry's. Before you start typing angry comments, hear me out. Ben & Jerry's makes decent ice cream, the chunks are generous, the flavors are creative, and they haven't cut costs to quite the same degree as others on this list. So why are they at number 3 on the worst list? Because of what they represent and what they're charging for it. Ben & Jerry's is owned by Unilever, the same Unilever that owns Walls, the same corporation that's perfectly happy to sell you garbage ice cream under one brand and premium-priced ice cream under another. Every tub of Ben & Jerry's you buy is supporting the same company that's degrading Walls. But the real issue is the price. Often £5 to £6 for a 465ml tub. That's over £1 per 100 millilitres. For that price, you're getting ice cream that, while better than Walls, still contains stabilizers, still has vegetable oils in some flavors, and still has an overrun that's higher than truly premium brands. The chunks of cookie dough, the swirls of fudge, the creative names, that's all distraction. Those chunks are cheap to produce, and they mask the fact that the ice cream base itself isn't anything special. One food industry worker revealed, "The chunks are genius marketing. People remember the cookie dough pieces, not the ice cream they're in. You're paying premium prices for average ice cream with cheap add-ins." And let's talk about those woke marketing campaigns. The progressive messaging, the activism, the social justice flavors. I'm not saying companies shouldn't have values, but when a massive corporation like Unilever uses social causes to sell you overpriced ice cream, there's something deeply cynical about it. Ben & Jerry's isn't the worst ice cream, but it might be the worst value for money, and it's using clever marketing and progressive branding to distract from the fact that you're overpaying for a decent product from a corporation that's simultaneously selling you rubbish under a different name. Number 2, Carte D'or. If there's one brand that perfectly encapsulates the ice cream industry's contempt for consumers, it's Carte D'or. The name means golden card in French. The packaging is elegant, sophisticated, European. It's positioned as the affordable premium option, the treat that won't break the bank. It's also barely ice cream at all. In fact, Carte D'or potentially can't legally be called ice cream in many of its ranges. If you look at the packaging carefully, you'll see it described as frozen dessert instead. And there's a reason for that. To be legally called ice cream in the UK, a product must contain a minimum amount of dairy fat. Carte D'or replaces most of that expensive dairy fat with vegetable oils and uses stabilizers and emulsifiers to make it behave like ice cream without actually being ice cream. The ingredients list is horrifying. Reconstituted skimmed milk, glucose syrup, sugar, vegetable oils, palm, coconut, emulsifiers E471, E476, stabilizers E410, E412, E407. Where's the cream? There isn't any. This is vegetable oil, whipped with air and stabilized with gums. A disillusioned customer wrote, "Bought Carte D'or for years thinking it was a step up from Walls. Finally read the label. Is it even ice cream? I felt like an idiot." The texture is the tell. Real ice cream melts into a smooth liquid. Carte D'or melts into a gloopy, separated mess because the vegetable oils and stabilizers don't blend properly. It leaves a greasy coating in your mouth because you're essentially eating frozen vegetable spread with sugar. But here's the most insulting part. Carte D'or costs more than supermarket own brand ice cream, significantly more. You're paying extra for elegant packaging and a French name wrapped around a product that's lower quality than the budget alternatives. It's not ice cream. It's like a frozen dessert made from the cheapest possible ingredients, marketed as premium and priced accordingly. That's not just bad quality, we feel that's borderline fraudulent. Number 1, Mr. Whippy Ice Cream Vans. I know what you're thinking, ice cream vans aren't a brand. But hear me out, because this is the worst ice cream most British people regularly consume, and we need to talk about it. That soft serve ice cream from the van at the beach, at the park, at summer fairs. It's not ice cream, it's called soft serve for a reason. And that reason is that it can't legally be called ice cream. The mix that goes into those machines is typically called ice cream mix, but it's actually a combination of vegetable oils, milk powder, sugar, emulsifiers, and stabilizers. No cream, sometimes not even real milk, just reconstituted milk powder. The machines whip this mixture with air while freezing it. The overrun can be as high as 100%, meaning half of what you're buying is air. That's why it's so soft. That's why it melts so quickly into that weird separated liquid. That's why it leaves that coating in your mouth. But the real horror is what some van operators do. There are documented cases of ice cream vans using mix that's been sitting unrefrigerated, or not cleaning their machines properly. The regulations around mobile food vendors are far less strict than permanent establishments. A former ice cream van operator confessed online, "The mix we used cost about 20 pence per 99 flake. We sold them for £2.50. The machine got cleaned once a week, if we remembered. I wouldn't eat it myself." The flake, the monkey's blood sauce, the hundreds and thousands, they're all there to mask the fact that what you're eating is barely food. It's sweetened vegetable oil foamed with colouring and flavouring. And yet we keep buying it because it's summer, because it's tradition, because childhood memories are powerful things. But those memories are from a time when ice cream vans actually sold ice cream, not whatever chemical concoction passes for it now. For the same £2.50, you could buy a proper ice lolly or save up and buy real ice cream from a shop. But Mr. Whippy soft serve persists because we're not thinking about what we're eating. We're thinking about what we remember eating. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are still two brands that deserve your money, two companies that are making ice cream the right way and refusing to cut corners. Mackie's of Scotland. Up in Aberdeenshire, the Mackie family have been farming for 4 generations, and in 1986, they started making ice cream from their own dairy herd. Mackie's is still family-owned, still made on the farm, and still using proper ingredients. Check the ingredients on a tub of Mackie's traditional: whole milk, fresh cream, sugar, and flavouring. That's it. No vegetable oils, no stabilisers beyond what naturally occurs in the ingredients. No nonsense. The result is ice cream that tastes like ice cream used to taste. Creamy, dense, rich. It melts properly. It doesn't leave a greasy coating. It's what ice cream is supposed to be. And they're not resting on their laurels. Mackie's has invested in renewable energy, they pay fair wages, and they're transparent about their ingredients and processes. When they make honeycomb flavour, they use real honeycomb. When they make chocolate, they use actual chocolate, not compound. Yes, it costs more than Walls, but you're getting more. The overrun is lower, meaning more actual product in the tub. The ingredients are real, and you're supporting a British family business rather than a multinational corporation. One convert wrote, "Tried Mackie's after reading about them. Can't go back to Walls now. This is what I remember ice cream tasting like 30 years ago." Jude's Ice Cream, and at the top we have a relative newcomer that's showing the old guard how it should be done. Founded in 2002 in Hampshire, has a simple philosophy. Ice cream should contain ingredients you recognise. Their standard vanilla contains just 6 ingredients: whole milk, double cream, sugar, free-range egg yolk, vanilla extract, and a stabiliser derived from carob bean. That's it. You could make this in your kitchen if you had an ice cream maker. The cream content is higher than almost any other commercial brand. The overrun is low, meaning you're getting dense, rich ice cream rather than frozen air, and the flavours are made with real ingredients. The salted caramel uses real caramel they make themselves. The chocolate uses high-quality cocoa. The strawberry uses actual strawberries. But what really sets Jude's apart is their refusal to compromise. They've grown rapidly. They're now in major supermarkets, but they haven't reformulated to cut costs. They're proving that you can scale up without selling out. A food blogger put it perfectly. Jude's tastes like what you'd make at home if you had the time and the skill. It's ice cream the way it's meant to be, and every other brand should be embarrassed. Yes, it's expensive. A tub can cost £5 to £6, but compare the ingredients to Haagen-Dazs at the same price, or Ben & Jerry's, or any of the others. Compare the cream content, compare the overrun. You're getting what you pay for, which is increasingly rare. Here's the reality. Most ice cream in British supermarkets is a scam. It's vegetable oil and air held together with chemicals, marketed with nostalgia and clever packaging, and sold at prices that suggest quality that simply isn't there. The brands we grew up with have been systematically degraded by corporations that realized we'd keep buying based on memory rather than reality. They've cut costs, replaced real ingredients with cheap alternatives, and pumped their products full of air and additives. But we don't have to accept it. Mackie's and Jude's prove that real ice cream still exists. Smaller producers all over Britain are making proper ice cream with proper ingredients. It costs more because it costs more to make, but the difference in quality is staggering. So next time you're in the frozen aisle, flip that tub over. Read the ingredients. Ask yourself if vegetable oils and stabilizers are what you want to be eating. Ask yourself if you're buying ice cream or buying a memory of ice cream that no longer exists. British summer deserves better than vegetable oil foam with flavoring. Your kids deserve to know what real ice cream tastes like. And these multinational corporations need to understand that we're not going to keep accepting degraded products just because the packaging looks familiar. The worst 8 brands on this list have betrayed your trust. The best 2 have earned your money. Choose accordingly.